because my computer's not working. The 2026 road project open house. And members present for the work session are myself, Kathleen Refkin, Peter Vickery, Claudia Lacey, Brian Govern, Allison Fauci with WSB, Gary Peters, our Director of Public Works, Jasper Krugel, our City Administrator, and Brian Grimm, our Finance Director. Allison?
Thank you, Acting Mayor Refkin. Appreciate the folks that showed up this evening. Emily Brown with WSB. She's the project manager, assistant city engineer here for Minnetrista, and she's present here to give a brief presentation on the proposed project and then available to answer any questions that the residents that have attended and the council may have.
Thank you, members of the City Council. Happy to be here for the 2026 proposed street improvement project. No, I'm good. Project background. So the City of Minnetrista focuses on improving their street conditions. As part of that, they do a program to evaluate the existing pavement condition throughout the city, and that those evaluations help determine what streets are priorities to be completed. In addition, we did pavement cores on the streets that we're looking at for the 2026 project in order to evaluate their condition. So based on that information, the project for 2026, maybe I'm just clicking too much.
There will be just a little bit of a lag. It's on that computer over there. So yeah, just give it a second when you hit it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll try and get back where we're at. But the streets that we're looking at this year are Game Farm from County Road 26 to County Road 110. We're looking at Lakeside Drive and Lakeside Circle, Pinnacle Way, Willow Court, Maple Lane, North Saunders Lake Drive, and Cedar Court, and Basswood Drive, South Saunders Lake Drive, Bluffs Lane, Walnut Drive, and Cherrywood Court. You can see those up highlighted on the screen there in the orange and purple. So I talked about when we're looking at these, we look at the existing pavement condition. So part of the pavement condition is an index number. It evaluates the condition on a scale from 0 to 100, 100 essentially being a brand new road, smooth surface, no cracking, and 0 being a street that needs to be completely reconstructed. Based on what we've seen, I'll talk about the existing pavement conditions as we walk through, but generally they seem to be in the 80 to 90 range, some in the 70s, some in the low 90s, which is essentially indicative of pavements that's showing stress and where the top surface of the pavement is in need of some kind of repair and maintenance project. So looking at the two photos there, we've got Lakeside Drive, originally built in 1997. The surface is showing some stripping and some cracking. And Pinnacle Way, built in 1999. Again, so showing some surface stripping and cracking. Lakeside Drive had a index number of 86 to 88. Pinnacle had a index number of 89. All right, moving on to the Basswood area and Willow Court area. So Basswood was built in the year 2000, showed surface stripping and cracking. And Willow Court was built in 2002 with surface stripping and cracking. The Basswood condition indexes were rated from 77 to 88, and the Willow Court area was rated from 73 to 86. All right, and then we're looking at Game Farm. I have two photos of Game Farm up there, but it was built in 2010. Had longitudinal cracking, patching in certain areas, surface stripping, and alligator cracking. There is a couple areas on Game Farm that are definitely in worse distress. Those were rated about 70. They showed there's been a lot of patching, a lot of cracking on those areas. And then other areas of Game Farm had a PCI index in the 80s to up to 92.
Sorry, just a quick question about that. Is it just a function of the amount of traffic why Game Farm is degrading so rapidly compared to the other streets, or is there something else at play?
You know, there's a lot of things that go into cracking. It can be related to the soils underneath. Some soils heave and settle in different ways. Traffic does play a factor in that, but it isn't necessarily the controlling factor. And once you start getting water cracks, water gets in there and it leads to more cracking. So as part of the maintenance program, it's really important to get after that to get a nice clean surface for after that.
Can I jump in here too? Just there's the section of game farm on the east-west section that is being proposed for reclamation. That section was never done. So there was a project on game farm in 2015. 2009. Thank you.
That was 10, maybe it was.
Before my, anyway, so there was a project on Game Farm Road back in 2009, 2010, and that section was not included in the project. And so there is some portions of Game Farm Road that weren't done in that time frame. And so those areas are exhibiting more distress than others. And then there's also that north-south segment just past that 90-degree bend. And I think what Emily was sharing there as far as soils and conditions there, you know, that one, I think we can really attribute it to that. But that east-west section is, it's I think a big factor is due to age.
And if I may, the section that's by the lake there, Little Long Lakes right there, it was subject to flooding during the heavy rains in 14. So the water was up to the road, and I think there's a drainage crossers was pretty high. So I'm sure underneath there got really saturated, you know, more than what it normally does, just because the water was so high for that length of time during 2014. So
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. So for the majority of the streets, we are looking at a mill and overlay. A mill and overlay consists of removing the top 2 inches of the pavement section. The pavement itself is approximately 4 inches deep, so it's not removing the entire pavement. It's just the top 2 inches, and then repaving it with a new pavement section. There are certain areas that we're looking at doing a full depth, be removing the entire pavement section and paving 4 inches back of new pavement. That would be the areas on Game Farm that we talked about. And then there is a portion on North Saunders that was exhibiting some more distress than other areas. But the other areas on the project are all planned for a mill and overlay. Street widths are remaining the same. Street grades will stay the same with this type of project. There might be minor adjustments just to make sure that drainage is consistent. And then we'll be looking at spot curb repairs for the areas that have curb. So cracked, settled curb areas we would be replacing with the project. The budget for this project is $4,400,000. The funding would be from the road fund, MnDOT state aid. Portion of Game Farm is scheduled to be a state aid route, and then special assessments for a portion of Game Farm. Detailed information on the project costs will be included in the feasibility report, which is forthcoming. The city's assessment policy, a portion of the projects will be assessed to benefiting property owners according to the city's policy and Minnesota State Statute 429. Historically, this has been approximately 50% of the street project costs. The assessment is based on the surface and storm sewer improvements. Hardship deferrals are available for senior citizens, disabled persons, so the military, and payment period would be 20 years. Specific questions about special assessments can be directed to Brian Grimm, the finance director. So looking at schedule, this is essentially the first step in our project. After this, we'll be preparing and finalizing the feasibility report to submit to council. That is anticipated on August 4th. At that point in time, council would call the public hearing, which would be held on September 3rd. And council would decide whether to move forward with production of plans and specifications. Based on that schedule, we would look at opening bids in January of 2026. Bids would be presented to the council with the assessment hearing and awarding the contract in February. Construction is anticipated between June and September of next year. That said, with this type of project, we're not anticipating that the full duration of the project would take that long. Let me rephrase. That would be for all the streets to be completed. Each street area would take less than that time frame because it's just a large project area. We anticipate from start to finish should be from June to September, but each area would be much less time than that. So the city wants your input. This is, again, early in the process. We like to hear from our residents and understand any issues you're aware of or any questions related to the roadway, utility work, safety concerns, questions about the street section or funding. Website is up and running for general information on the project. You can also sign up for emails that is more specific to construction. We provide weekly updates on what's going on your street during construction. We also have a handout in the back that includes some information on the project, driveway access, lawn restoration, sprinkler systems, mail garbage, special events, things like that. And then also information on gathering your input. So you can fill out a comment card in the back. You can talk to us about any concerns you have. Otherwise, you can email.
She should have been turned
hotline.
around. You should have been talking to these people, not to us. Thank you. So Emily, you're looking for questions from the audience?
Yes.
Yeah.
With that concludes my presentation. So if any folks have specific questions that other folks might have, we can come up to the front, have council hear them. Otherwise, we have poster boards in the back that we can go and look at your specific property, your specific concern, and talk directly one-on-one.
I had a question going back to Game Farm Road. If it was subject to flooding, does it make sense to raise the level of the road as long as we're spending a lot of money on it?
2014 was when we had that 7-inch rainfall. We had washouts everywhere. We had flooding on the island out there. It was just, there was so much water at that time. We haven't seen that again. The only other incident we had was when Mr. Beaver there came in and plugged up the exit by 15. But otherwise, it normally stays relatively low. But I'd say that 2014 we had, I think it was almost 7 inches of rain that time, and yeah, that was everything flooded then. So, but we haven't not had anything near that bad again.
Okay, thank you. I think the gentleman.
I just wanted to make a suggestion, use a little bit bigger.
That's my fault. I apologize. I sent this as due to the file size. It's not a PowerPoint, and so it's not projecting very well. I apologize for that.
Can we make it larger?
Maybe. It's on that computer, which nobody's at.
Oh, okay.
So, but I don't know. We can, if we want, we can email it out to you guys too.
I agree with you, though. Second that. There you go.
Is that all on the website?
We don't have it loaded yet, but we sure can put that on the website tomorrow. Yeah. So that folks have the information.
The way I see this, you don't have any of the assessments determined what the algorithm is going to be.
Correct. So at this time, so the city's policy, mill and overlay, which is the majority of the project, is not assessed. The reason there is a portion of Game Farm Road that's in poor condition, that east-west section over by the water treatment plant. So there is a portion of that road that will be the full depth removal and replacement. And so at this time, we're looking for consideration for assessing the properties adjacent to that section for a portion of the project cost, but the majority of the project would not be assessed.
Yeah. What's your address? Maybe we could give you a more.
I happen to be on that section.
Yeah. So if you recall back in 2008 or 10, when we did the road. That section was left out of the improvement area because it was quotes unquotes paved. And so now we have to pave it. And so that's, yeah.
That section was not paved when I moved in 1984. It was at some point in the, probably before 2000, it was paved. We were assessed at that time for that paving.
Okay, that's not in our records, so,
Well,
yeah.
your records don't go back 50 years?
No, not 50.
Well, in 1984,
That's about 41 years.
it was right in the middle of
Yeah.
that purple section.
Yeah.
It was gravel. And at some point after that, and I would have to look it up, we were assessed at that point for paving.
Okay.
And there was debate and negotiation about how we were supposed to get assessed. The properties around there, some have lots of road surface or roadside road frontage and very little depth. Some of them have very little road frontage and lots of depth. Mine has just a corner of road frontage. Some of them are off of that road in side roads. But they still use it. In fact, most of that Game Farm Road uses that thing to get in and out of their place. So most of the wear is not us, it's actually them.
Well, yeah, but also you should be aware, so what happened back when we paved Game Farm Road, back in 2009, 2010, the people that were on the cul-de-sacs, such as Fielding Trail and I can't remember all the names of them, but anyhow, they were assessed as well. So they were all assessed.
My point is that assessing is a nice issue.
Sure it is.
You deal with.
Yeah.
And whether you're dealing with added property value versus who's generating the wear and tear versus,
Right.
you're not going to please everybody.
Right.
I'm not looking to negotiate that. I'm curious as to when and how is that negotiation going to happen?
So we have to first determine which properties that would be assessed, and they would be the ones that in 2010 did not get the improvement. That's kind of what we've talked about at this point. And then every property is assessed the same regardless of how much per foot frontage you have, because if you have 100 feet or if you have 500 feet, you're still using the road. It doesn't really impact the road more or less just because you have more or less frontage. So our policy was established way back in the early 2000s, and that's what the council decided to do, is just assess on a per parcel basis.
Okay, that's good information.
Yeah.
Back in the 1990s when that section was paved, you have to have it in your record somewhere, it was assessed by a different algorithm. We were assessed for that going from gravel to paved.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, and I don't know. I know it wasn't paved after 99, so it must have been early 90s. Yeah, so, yeah.
I'm sure I can look at my old tax records and see when the assessment started.
Okay.
And I'm sure you could do the same.
Yeah. We'll look that up. Good to know.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I think the other question you had was as far as what the estimated assessments would be. And those numbers would be presented in the feasibility study and at the public, and so included in the feasibility study. And then there's also a public hearing associated with the proposed assessments. So there will be notification to residents who are proposed to be assessed. So there's a process where you can, that information would be provided.
Probably if that timeline show, yeah.
Correct.
A couple of assessments.
Yes, so yeah, the feasibility report were slated for the August 4th meeting. And then I think the public hearing was September, is it the 4th? That first Wednesday in September 3rd. So that information The public hearing notices are sent to the residents, including the time, the date and time of that meeting too. So all that information is shared.
Maybe for you, you consider that, particularly that section, but that the substructure is adequate?
Yeah, so we, as part of this process, we took road cores, which is essentially drilling down and gathering a section of road to evaluate. And based on that evaluation, the base material, which is is in good condition and will sustain.
I'm not sure there always is right at the edge. But I presume you guys are gonna have, you're gonna lay new pavement down, you've gotta have something there.
Yeah, when we do this type of work, we'll remove the whole pavement and then they will evaluate the base material and supplement, roll it, add aggregate material if there's some issue.
Emily, aren't you planning on doing a reclamation project though?
This is a full depth.
A full depth?
I think I misspoke, yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's just removing the pavement.
Yeah.
It's not the reclamation.
Okay. Any other questions regarding? Yeah.
Just in general, I was curious, the time frame it sounded like was next summer, June to September for the whole project, or, a given neighborhood or something like that. Is there a general estimate of how long that would be from start to finish?
For milling overlay, they go pretty quick. So it's usually a couple days of milling and then they, will pave it pretty quick after that. The biggest thing that's going to take some time is curb, because concrete curb has a 7-day cure window. So I would say 3 to 4 weeks for each neighborhood. Game farm is longer, so that.
I thought I saw in here that the curb was gonna be as needed, but are you considering just replacing all of it, or?
No, generally when we looked at the curb, it's in good condition, so we're really gonna focus on settle curb, crack curb, things that cause drainage issues.
Thank you.
Am I correct that when you replace 4 inches, you do it 2 inches at a time?
Correct.
So they're delayed between those two.
Yeah, for the areas of purple, it'd be, two pavement. They're called this, but yeah, two paving operations, one after.
Do them immediately, or is there?
It's usually a day in between. They can do them the same day.
It's not weeks apart.
Not.
Anybody else have questions? Concerns? Okay, but what we'll do is, I think Emily and maybe Allison will still be available back there in the foyer if you want to look at or ask them questions maybe that's specifically for your property. Look at the maps, talk to them, get more information. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we can be adjourned unless you have questions. We can ask questions afterwards too.
Yeah. No, she was very thorough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. So I was
Roughly know what year
told
that was.
that staff would do a presentation and
Victoria
it would
doesn't
be
show on
an
their
open
website, you can't
house
see it, so I
forum
just can't-
and
do
we
you know
didn't have to be
Approximately
here.
when that was, I can have them look it up.
He did say that. Yeah, he did say that.
So I'm thinking, I'll just show up at 5:45, shortly before 6. That's still I mean, so I didn't know that we had to.
mean, I
Have
can
a
come up on, I do
meeting.
see it on the website, you know, when I get on
Open
it.
house.
But it says open house,
To
so.
the,
You're right.
You were correct. I was there.
2000, you
I
can see
know.
that's paved.
Well, and there was
It's
a
paved in
red
2000.
Mazda out there, and so we all assumed you were here somewhere.
I thought I just had it.
No, they have it listed like
You did
88.
say that too.
You did.
It doesn't
say
come
You did
up.
say that
So
too.
it must not be,
You can blame me.
no, and they have,
You're fine. I opened the meeting.
But in
Yeah,
the
You pronounced Allison's last name.
can't tell.
presentation to the.
Yeah, it's hard to,
public,
it's so whitewash, it's hard to
Yeah.
tell.
I'm like, I know how to say your name.
It's hard to
Like,
tell.
I know where
When I
I've been
walk
for
You know,
5 years.
because
I know her
even
name.
it's white,
Yeah.
so it's really hard to tell, you know, what is, what was there.
I can
Yeah.
choose notice.